I'm Robert McBride, and this is Everyday People, a program in which we investigate the lives of people making a difference in our community. This is Robert McBride with another episode of Everyday People, talking to people in the community that make a difference and help enrich the communities. On today's program, we're going to talk with Jessica Gelter from Arts Alive, based out of Keene, but a regional arts organization. And RAMP has been in existence a long time, and I've been very aware of Arts Alive and some of the stuff they do, but I'm also ignorant a lot of the stuff you do. I don't think we've ever per se collaborated on something. I see that hopefully I've seen things pop up on the RAMP Google group, that hopefully you're posting the events or maybe someone's reposting them for you, which we really encourage. So I want to welcome Jessica to the program and just start out real basic, like what is Arts Alive? Just give us a little elevator speech on it, the mission maybe, when it was started and stuff.
So Arts Alive is what we call an arts service organization where we offer services to the arts community and to the greater community to help them integrate arts into city planning and economy development and other things. Mm-hmm. So that's the very nutshell.
Okay. And so I assume it's a not-for-profit. Is it a not-for-profit?
We are a non-for-profit.
Okay.
We're almost 10 years old. 10-year anniversary is next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of got the organization going 10 years ago?
It's a really interesting story. So funders noticed the sort of breaking point was that some of the major arts organizations in the region scheduled their fundraiser nights on the same day. And, our community loves to come out and support the arts and support nonprofits and get engaged. And the fundraisers are a wonderful way for organizations to tell their story and update their community. And to have that happen was a real eye-opener that our arts community was not a community. They weren't talking to each other. They weren't engaging with each other. They weren't planning together. So these funders got together and said, we need to start talking. How can we start to manage that? Mm-hmm. They began convening a group in 2007 to really explore, what do we need to collaborate? What do we need to build bridges between our organizations and artists in the region? And, they started with a community calendar. And
wow.
Yeah,
yes.
Right? So that's a great way to see, who's doing what when, and and it grew from there pretty fast. We also participated in the Americans for the Arts and Economic Prosperity Study the following year, which takes a look at the economic impact of arts organizations, arts nonprofits. So once they had that data, they could go around, continue to fundraise and build the capacity for the organization to do the work to support the arts sector.
Mm-hmm. So you've really been doing all this creative economy work since the start of your organization. That's really interesting. Well, a couple of things. One is the community calendar. So, that I think that's one of those conversations that comes up at every meeting I've been involved in for the last 25 years, creating a community calendar. So how successfully is that functioning for you and the people that you're trying to include in it or need to include it? I assume you're not trying to track every event that's going on. Is this more among the organizations and their key things going on? Or just tell me how it's been working.
Well, it did really start as just internal for organizations to plan their seasons and work with each other to sort of not overtax audiences. But since then, that community has really developed and started communicating with each other. So now the calendar really serves as a place where people can just go find things to do. And we have, I think, 100 calendar feeds coming into our calendar, so that it comes in from Facebook, it comes in from the local newspaper, it comes in from all these different places. So there are like 50 events a week that you could, arts events primarily, that you could go out and do.
Right. So what kind of coordination has to happen over that? Or, or does Siri just come in and make sure it's all working fantastically?
Well, Siri, because Arts Alive has a staff of one, and when the calendar was created, it was half a person.
Staff of half, right. They grew up.
So we did a lot of research to find something that would serve and not tax our capacity. Because, when 100 arts organizations are sending you their press releases, and then you have to go and plug that in, that's an enormous amount of work.
Absolutely.
So we needed a software that could just automatically gobble up information from different sources.
Wow.
So this is like it's called Timely, and it's a wonderful, wonderful software that just makes everything really simple. And it's maybe once a week that I have to go, somebody sends me an email and says, this is looking funny, can you fix it? And but it's not 50 events a week that I have to enter, which is really cool.
So how does one subscribe or is allowed to use the calendar?
Well, we have arts organizations in the Monadnock region and then on the periphery, so all up and down the Connecticut River Valley up to just a little north of here. And then all the way over to the Sauhegan River, which is Milford, New Hampshire. Any arts organization can just send Arts Alive an email with either a feed for their iCal or their Facebook page link, or they can just go on to our calendar, which is at discovermonadnock.com, and post an event.
Right. Well, I don't know how interesting this is to the audience, but to me, as an arts organization, this is like worth your interview alone, is to meet someone that's actually, because it's just, as I said, it's just been one of those insurmountable things that we waste a lot of time trying to talk about how to do it and to actually understand that it can happen and is happening and has been happening with, a relatively minimal amount of correction or work on it. I need to have you talk to some people at our Arts Council about some of the stuff we're dealing. So I don't want to bore the audience, but it's really great.
Getting people to use it.
Exactly.
And so we've started a whole marketing program to get people. We have a newsletter that goes out with all the coolest events of the month.
Right.
It is our most visited page because people are just like, they have this idea that there's nothing to do in rural New England, boring, got to go to Boston for something interesting.
Yeah.
So not true.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, that's what I found years ago, same thing when I was in Bellows Falls, that there's nothing, you just wait, let's start listing the resources. Look what's going on here. There's more than you can possibly do. It's just not, being communicated or people aren't getting that. That's great.
And the depth and the quality is just amazing of the work that goes on around here. And people, artists really love to come here because you get that really intimate experience with your audience that you don't get in a larger venue or in an urban venue. So.
No, absolutely. The scale, on both sides of the river, the scale of our communities and at this part of New Hampshire, I consider you in rural New Hampshire. You're not part. You're in relationship to Boston, but you're not that southern part that totally commutes there for work all the time. But we share so many commonalities and so many challenges and so many opportunities. Like you said, I think the scale allows us to have a connection, and I think also. When I would sometimes bring artists to do an event here, you would think, do they really want to come to Bellows Falls, Vermont? Do they really want to put it on their resume? And you really soon realize it's a wonderful two-way street because they're getting as much out of the experience of being to function in a rural community where they have access to everybody, as opposed to when they just do something in the city that they could end up working just in the art ghetto of the city, that neighborhood or that event or that place. Here they have access to the whole community.
And they're
they
such
get
a
excited
big
about
fish.
yeah, there's such a big fish, but it's really a wonderful exchange that happens. And I think also, having lived in New York in an urban area as an artist, you know, I mean, artists are always looking for acknowledgement or recognition, and to be able to offer them that and realize there's such an abundance of artists in the city that would like to be able to take advantage of this. And also, we don't want to deny our local artists the access to stuff, and it's not just about bringing people in from the outside. But there's a wonderful mixture that can happen, and an interchange that happens that I've really appreciated and stuff. So are you the original director of Arts Alive?
I'm the third.
The third, oh my goodness. How long have you been there?
I got to Arts Alive in 2014.
Okay, so you're doing good.
Yeah.
You're for 4 years.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And so tell me about, well, first of all, why don't you briefly just give the website for Arts Alive so people can look up information themselves?
Sure. It's monadnockartsalive.org.
Okay, that's pretty good. So tell us a little bit about,
It's good if you know how to spell Monadnock.
Well, why don't you spell it for us?
Monadnock.
There you go.
Just that mountain there.
Part of the name is in the game.
Yeah.
There you go. Part of the game is in the name. Anyway, so why don't you, with the mission of what you were doing, so what does that put on your agenda of projects that you're working on, or collaborations that you're doing, or workshops that you're hosting? I mean, just what is some of the stuff you do? This great calendar, and is it a full-time position that you do?
It is a full-time position.
Okay.
I'll tell you a little bit about what's coming up.
Okay, sounds good.
So next week, we're hosting the New Jersey Institute of Technology and the National Consortium for Creative Placemaking.
Okay.
They're coming up to do a full-day workshop on teaching town planners, city management, developers, and artists how to do creative placemaking.
Oh my gosh.
And how to tie it into brownfields grants and throughout, I think, rural New England, especially our area, and I think Bellows Falls. I mean, you guys definitely have benefited from brownfields programs, which help remediate maybe toxic sites or places that may have PCBs or things like that that are that make development and investment a challenge because it's so expensive to fix that sort of pollution.
It and stuff.
Yeah. So.
No, so let me ask you, in terms of this workshop, who can apply to go to this workshop? Anyone?
Anyone.
People from Vermont and New Hampshire?
We have people from Vermont, people from Brattleboro, and I think maybe somebody from Bellows Falls.
And
I haven't looked at the list recently.
or have you been in touch with our regional planning commission, Wyndham Regional, Susan
yes,
McMahon,
we have
you work with?
great partnerships with planning departments and the regional planning commission.
So how many people could you accommodate at this workshop?
Unfortunately.
Full?
We can accommodate 40, and it filled up 2 weeks ago.
Fantastic. Okay.
But we have a wait list,
Okay.
so if anyone drops out, there are opportunities.
Right. Now, and is it an all-day workshop?
It's an all-day workshop. Actually, at the end of the day, we're having a reception that's you don't have to sign up for.
Okay.
At Margarita's, because we like to party. But just to connect to the people that did attend the workshop and our greater artists and developers community.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Great. Okay. So that one is like, whoa, you're doing well on that one. What's another thing coming up?
Another thing I'm super excited about, this is our 4th year of partnering with the Keene Sentinel.
Okay.
And they're such a wonderful, locally owned for forever organization, publisher. They've begun to do these big community events, doing community recognition for different types of folks. Of course, they do the best of that I think is very common throughout. But they all do a trendsetters one for young folks. I'm a trendsetter.
Okay, yes. I could tell.
There are also what we're doing with them is recognizing local artists and organizations that are doing exemplary work across the region. And we've awarded, I think, almost 50 artists so far who come from a caliber that is sort of mind-blowing, and really emphasizes this idea that, you know, yeah, we can bring in artists from New York or Boston or wherever, but like here, there exists some incredible talents, and organizations that are really versatile and really able to pivot with the trends in national and local communities that are just doing some stunning work. So
where will that be? And
so we have an open nominations process that starts April 23rd.
Okay.
And anyone that considers themselves in the Monadnock region can apply.
So does that cross state lines?
It could.
Okay. No, good to know.
Yeah.
And once again, people could get information about that by going onto your website.
Yeah, it'll be up soon.
Yeah,
It's not up yet.
It's not up yet. You heard it here first on Everyday People. Groundbreaking news once again. Fantastic.
But it's a really fun, swanky event. We've got a huge community group planning this year that they've decided that this has to be like the Oscars of our region. So
So it's going to start at like 4 in the afternoon, and you dress up in your dress
VIP
up clothes, and the sun hasn't set yet.
Yeah.
That disturbing thing.
Yeah. evening clothes and bright hot sun.
Cool. So, and also if people wanted to get back to you and they couldn't remember the Monadnock spelling, if they just Google Arts Alive, Keene, your information would pop up.
Absolutely.
And stuff. That's great. Okay, well that sounds pretty cool.
The other thing that we're doing, which starts this Saturday. We're doing, for 4 years now, we've been partnering with the Hannah Grimes Center for Entrepreneurs, which is a wonderful resource for anyone starting their business or working independently as a contractor to both have resources for building their business and managing it and leading it and visioning what the future is. So we're partnering with them to present artist business workshops.
Okay.
And this spring series, I'm so excited about this because we got a ton of community feedback and input on what artists are looking for, what they're craving. A big part of that was being able to connect with each other, connect with their audiences. So this series is all about different media to tell your story.
Oh, okay.
So the first one, which made so much sense to start off with, was how to draft an artist statement and then how to turn that into an artist talk. So it's a full day workshop on Saturday.
Whoa.
That's going to be, addressing both of those. And I think the most delightful part of it is we're going to do it at an artist's studio.
Great.
She's Susan Dunholter is one of our Ewing Arts Awardee recipients. She's an amazing artist, and she has this great big studio in the woods in Peterborough. So it's only an hour away.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're bringing in a gallery manager to teach this workshop, and she's a really dynamic woman, and
that's cool.
I'm super excited about this first one.
Okay, so once again, how many people can you accommodate at this workshop?
We can only accommodate 12, but there are spots left.
Okay. And is there a cost to participate?
Yeah, we this one, because we're bringing her in from so far away, it's $25 for our membership.
Okay.
And then $50 for non-members.
Okay.
But membership's only $15.
Right. So hey.
So all the more reason to become a member
and
enjoy this workshop.
And it'll be an all-day workshop.
This one is an all-day one.
And you'll sort of walk away with a product you've produced about yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
That's...
You'll be able to have a fresh artist statement, which, we believe that artists should be constantly looking at that and reviewing it. Maybe once a year, depending on how much work they've produced in that year, to really be able to clearly say what they're doing and how the world's impacting them and what they're getting inspired by now.
Right.
But yeah, there'll be that, and then there will be the talk that you'll be able to take away.
And once again, the date on that is what?
It's this Saturday, April 14th.
Okay.
And you can find information about that on our website.
Right. And I think I'd mentioned maybe before we went live on TV, or maybe in the conversation we've been having about the Ramp Google group that my organization has been running for years, and one can just go to the website www.ramp-vt to subscribe. Doesn't cost anything, but then you'll be getting.
I should be writing things down too.
Yes, yeah, we got to make sure you're. I know I've seen things pop up, so whether you're posting them or some other getting reposted, which is fine, but it would be great. To put this information out on it. And if you, when you get home, if you would just send me the press release on it, I'll post it this time. Absolutely. And then nudge you to just put it out, because it's such a regional thing. And, it's such a great opportunity for artists to have this kind of attention and to work through it. And to be able to work through it in a workshop with other artists is really kind of
That's
ideal
the fun
situation.
Part.
It really is kind of the ideal situation. So it's really great. Okay, so that's coming up.
So that's like only the first one. We have one a little bit closer.
Like when? This afternoon?
No, closer in location. It's in Walpole. We do workshops in Walpole a couple of times a year.
Okay.
This one's using social media to express what's in your artist statement, what's in your artist talk, and using the tools that are on social media to really it's different than just writing a big blurb and putting it out there. So we have a woman who runs a creative marketing firm coming in to do that.
And so once again, that'll be in Walpole. Do you have a location for that at this point?
Not yet.
Okay, depends on this. And how many can you? I mean, the ideal of the person coming in, how many would they like to have there? Is it something that could
It'd be great to have around 10. We try to keep them small because you can just have much more in-depth and intimate conversations about each person's work when you have a smaller group.
And will that be an all-day one also?
That one's just a little one. That one's just an hour and a half.
Okay.
So we got some feedback that artists wanted some variety and different formats. So we have this all-day one. We have a few afternoon ones. We have a branding one that's an afternoon one. We have a full weekend one with a commercial photographer coming in from central New Hampshire who's, been in those magazines you see on airplanes and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
Coming in to set up a little photo studio to teach artists how to take pictures of their work.
Okay, this is way too exciting, especially since I was talking to you earlier about this creative economy convening I just hosted with Sarah Coffey at Next Stage, and this is such interesting, rich information that we could share with the artists that were at that, because we're in the economic development. We understand that the arts, in the broadest sense, really contribute significantly to the local economies of New Hampshire and Vermont. And in some of this programming, it's really it'd be really great to have some things that are very specifically targeted to artists moving themselves forward. Lots of times we're talking on sort of an organizational level because we can reach more people and manage it in terms of policy things. But to have these workshops that are really, such quality and such a reasonable price to benefit the artists. I mean, I really want to make sure that you send me the press release on the whole series, and I will blurt that out to people immediately, and then get yourself signed up for the Ramp Google. So anything you're doing could be posted.
Yeah, the fall series we're planning is also very exciting, and more about deepening your work, how to take the time and space to be able to take it to the next level.
Well, this is great. I know I've gotten a little high sign. We've got a few more minutes, so I want to know, is there anything right on the top of your brain that you want to say or share as we wrap this discussion up a little bit?
Gosh.
No. I mean,
there's so much, and then
you've given
the
us a
words aren't
website.
coming.
You've given us a great workshops that are coming up. Obviously, we should have, a further discussion with you. And we were talking a little bit, that would be interesting to have a couple of arts organizations or varied, we can't fit too many people on this program at once, but there's so much common denominator that runs through all our challenges of trying to accomplish stuff and reach audience and, keep the organization solvent and sustainable and stuff. That, I think the more we share those experiences, realize we're not out there stuck alone by any means. And everyone's so busy these days. I just still continue to find that, we continue to pretty much live in silos because we're busy doing stuff. And it's anytime we can break down to interact. I mean, I like to spend time kind of going around the state just to go visit people and, oh, what are you doing here? So I think it's kind of important that we talk, because otherwise we get very consumed with all this work we have to get done. And what is the real work? The real work is the connection part, that's always enriching and always leads to something better, I've found, when I've taken the time to go learn someone about the program and what they're up to. So this is great. So once again, give us your website. It's Arts Alive, so you can always Google that.
Although there are lots of organizations in the world called
Arts Alive.
Alive.
Keene, New Hampshire. That should do it, right?
Or Monadnock Arts
well,
Alive.
that gets into the spelling problem, But give us your website again, please.
monadnockartsalive.org. That's our website. And you can also check out discovermonadnock.org. .com.
Okay, watch out.
That's where the calendar is. There's so much to do. It's so much to see.
Well, Jessica, thank you. And we'll talk some more. And
sounds good.
I'm glad I got here in time for the interview. Thank you. Until next time, I want to thank Fact TV for being such an incredible resource to help us get information out and share stories, and to thank the Vermont Arts Council, the National Endowment for the Arts, Chroma Technology, and First Light, formerly Sovereignnet, in helping to support the efforts of RAMP. Until the next time, this is Robert McBride. RAMP would like to acknowledge organizations that help make this program possible through Fact TV, including the Vermont Arts Council, the National Endowment for the Arts, Chroma Technology, the Wyndham Foundation, and Stewart Property Management.